Hey guys, Alex here, and in this video I'm going to talk about the general lease option house criteria that I look for, because in the previous video titled How to Scrape Leads Off Craigslist, I got some questions about the type of houses that I look for and what they should be looking for prior to ever, even scraping. So that, which makes sense. I mean, you got to know what you're looking for before you start generating leads, right? So when it comes to lease options, here's my general criteria. So generally we look for nice houses and we want to be in nice areas as opposed to general wholesaling. So I think right now is a good time to discuss like what your exit strategy is going to be, right? So when you know your exit strategy, you're going to know how to buy. And in our case, when it comes to lease purchase, our exit strategy is going to be finding a lease purchase buyer to put into the home. So what do lease purchase buyers want? They want nice houses, they want nice areas. I mean, what would you want? Someone who's renting a house that generally can't buy today, just needs a little time to do so. What type of house are they going to want? They're going to want a nice house. It's probably going to be a starter home most times. They're going to want it to have very little, if no rehab. So excellent condition. They're going to want it to be in a good area, good school district, if possible for their children. Um, they're going to want at least 3 beds, right? Ideally 2 baths, but 1 bath's usually okay. And yeah, that's generally speaking. So you got to think about your buyer, so that you know which houses to look for. Versus in traditional wholesaling, and I keep bringing up traditional wholesaling because I know when I say the term wholesaling lease options, it might cause a little confusion. So with traditional wholesaling, who's the end buyer for that? It's always going to be um, an investor, right? It's going to be someone who's gonna either rehab the house and flip it, or they're going to um, buy it to hold as a rental property, right? So that's the type of buyer when it comes to traditional wholesalers. And those types of properties generally need work to get it at a deep enough discount to sell it to an investor buyer and still make a profit in the middle. All right, not the case with us. We're looking for nice houses in nice areas. We're able to offer the seller full retail for it as long as they can wait a little bit on their equity. All right, so just keep that in mind. So we're looking for nice houses, nice areas that need no repair. We're looking for at least 3 beds. If we can get more than 1 bath, that's great. And proximity, this is up to you. So this is going to be up to you. Generally, I'm okay with driving 1.5 hours from where I live, because I know that I'm gonna have to meet with a seller face to face in order to get a contract, at least for now, right? I'm relatively new at this still, and until I hire a seller specialist to go out to the homes and take photos and meet with the seller and get a contract, it's gonna be me doing it. So I'm okay with driving an hour and a half from where I live. You have to decide what that is for you. The price in my areas is, as I mentioned in a previous video, 600,000. You can find out in your county. Again, once you decide the radius proximity you want to be in, that's going to give you the counties that you're going to be working in. And then within those counties, you're going to want to research, as I showed in another previous video, you're going to want to research the FHA loan limits for that county. Because what that's going to tell you is what first-time home buyers who are going to qualify for FHA, which is going to be the majority of your people, that's where the most buyers are, and that's where you want to be ideally. It's kind of the sweet spot. That's where they're going to be able to buy the house, right, and get an FHA loan. Versus anyone who's not an FHA qualified buyer, meaning they it's a jumbo loan, right? It's a non-conforming loan. It's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot fewer buyers, a lot smaller pool to buy your houses. So you want to stay within that FHA loan limit. And for my counties, generally speaking, it's under 600K for me. All right, as I mentioned in a previous video as well, I've come across houses that I put under contract. Right now, I have a $1.7 million house. I have a $730,000 house. I had a $1 million house as well, which didn't sell. And I haven't been able to even really come close to cracking that code as far as finding a buyer for those high-end homes. I'm not saying that I won't someday, or that it's not possible. I'm sure it is. I'm sure people have done it. It's probably going to require a more extensive marketing plan, maybe spending money on Facebook ads, maybe doing mailers in the area, kind of doing more realtor activities, right? What they do to spend money on marketing, which I'm not looking to do right now, right? I want to keep it simple. I want to do bread and butter properties where all I need to do is post a sign, post on Craigslist, post on Zillow, all for free, and get buyers that way. More than enough. All right, so sorry for the rant. I'm going to keep this video short, definitely under 15 minutes, hopefully under 10. So for me, my price range is 600,000. All right. Now the monthly you also want to consider because you also want to target landlords, right? I target landlords and I like landlords. The reason I like landlords is because assuming it's a nice house in a nice area, assuming it's a 3+ bed, assuming it's within an hour and a half from where I live, and assuming it's under this price, right? The reason I like landlords is because they're already not living in the house. One of the biggest objections you're going to get as a lease purchase investor, whether you're assigning it, whether you're staying in the middle as a sandwich, is they need the equity from this house so they need to sell their house to capture the equity to go buy another house or to do whatever with, right? If that's the case, that means that they need their money today and they're not a good candidate for a lease purchase. We're looking for someone who doesn't need all the equity out today, meaning they have time, they can wait a little bit, and therefore rent it out for a period of time and eventually sell it outright within a year or two. That's the type of seller that we're looking for, someone who's flexible on the terms, right? So that's why I target landlords, because they're already not living in the house. It gets rid of that main objection right off the bat. All right, I hope that makes sense. So generally speaking, in my counties that I work in, that's going to yield a monthly payment of $3,000 a month. So I look for houses that are under $3,000 a month. Generally within, for me, I do a minimum of $1,200 to $3,000, just because I don't want to be in war zones and I don't want to deal with houses that need work, right? So this kind of sorts out those houses, sorts them out. All right, and you're going to learn more of this the more you look at houses, the more you scrape leads off Craigslist and Zillow. You're going to understand as far as, this $600,000 house, what does it rent for, right? And a lot of times Zillow has the actual rent value in addition to its estimate, which gives you a general idea as far as what this house could rent for. So again, the reason I picked 3,000 is because I don't want to target houses that are going to yield higher than a $600,000 price, at least for now. And I know that a $600,000 home in my areas generally yield a rent payment of around $3,000. It's going to be different for your area. You have to find this out. Okay, so this is my general criteria when it comes to lease option houses. I look for nice houses in nice areas. Look for a minimum of 3+ beds because I know that's what the majority are looking for. Proximity for me is an hour and a half drive from where I live. You have to decide that for yourself. And I recommend that you visit the houses yourself. Don't try to do this virtually, especially in the beginning. You're just going to, it's going to be tougher to get a deal under contract without the seller meeting you face to face and without you looking at the house, especially in the beginning. And then you have to decide what price range based off your FHA and loan limits. In my opinion, you want to stay either at or below that. That's going to give you your general criteria for your price. And then from that, you can back into what that monthly payment's going to yield to target the landlords and the for rents that you're going to find. All right, so I hope this video helps. This is really the starting point of where you need to be and what you need to look for. After you get this down, then what you're going to want to do is go on Craigslist, start scraping leads. You can go on Zillow. I'll probably do a separate video on how I scrape on Zillow. It's really simple. And then I also have a cool bonus on how I scrape on the MLS for leads, which is just, it's an additional bonus. I feel like less people search on MLS for leads, so I'll do a separate video on that as well. All right, guys, and just a reminder, you're no longer going to find live seller calls on my YouTube channel just because I can get in trouble for that if the seller were to find out that I recorded our conversation, and I don't want to risk getting fined for it. So to get access to those, all you'll need to do is subscribe, hit the notification button. That way you'll get notified whenever a new live seller video comes out. You just simply save the link and you'll have access to it for as long as you like. All right, guys, so that's it. Thanks for watching. Look out for the next one.